continue the conversation with Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana. He's a key member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Wolf.
As you know, the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, a man you know, has expressed concern about the president's access to nuclear codes. He's questioned his fitness for the job. Do you share those concerns?
Well, I think that Director Clapper is a very wise man, a very insightful person. He has dealt with profiling world leaders for decades now. He has a strong background in intelligence and human psychology, dare I say. I think that President Trump's his antics, his theater, his entertaining personality, his erratic behavior should be of concern to anyone who has dedicated themselves to the preservation of our democracy and our national security.
The president's anger toward the U.S. intelligence community is at least partly due to the ongoing Russia investigation. And according to some exclusive new reporting from CNN, congressional investigators have unearthed an email from a top Trump aide that referenced an effort to arrange a meeting last year between Trump campaign officials and the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Can you tell us anything else about this email or any other efforts to arrange meetings with Putin?
At this time, I'm not at liberty to discuss those matters regarding the information you're speaking about.
What can you tell us about that without violating confidence or security concerns?
Well, thank you. I'll say right now, stay tuned, Wolf, and as information unfolds, the committee will dig more deeply into these matters, but at this time I can't talk about them.
All right, let's move on to another subject you can talk about. You're a member of the House of Representatives. We're talking about the looming possibility of a federal government shutdown. The president appears to be very serious about shutting down the government if Congress doesn't approve funding, billions of dollars, for a new wall on the southern border with Mexico. Are you worried that Congress won't be able to pass a bill and put a bill on the president's desk that satisfies his terms, and there will be a government shutdown?
Well, Wolf, as you remember, the last time the Republicans shut down the government, it cost taxpayers $24 billion. I think that this is a bad approach, it's poor leadership, and we shouldn't be focused on building a wall. We should be talking about preserving health care for tens of millions of Americans. We should be talking about job creation. You would think with President Trump's background as a developer, he would be talking about investments in infrastructure, perhaps a robust public works program. But to talk about building a wall, I think it exacerbates the flames of intolerance.
Congress, as you know, also needs to raise the nation's debt ceiling by the end of next month, by the end of September. If not, the credit worthiness of the U.S. government will be put at risk with potentially devastating economic consequences for the American public. Will you vote for what's called a clean debt ceiling increase, or will Democrats use this to try to find an opportunity to extract concessions from the president?
Well, I think there will always be a push and pull as it relates to raising our debt ceiling. I think leaders on both sides of the aisle understand the importance of raising our debt ceiling. It's like going out for dinner and not paying your bill. At some point, you're going to have to pay your bill, or there will be grave consequences. And if we don't raise our debt, it is going to affect our lending capabilities, our bond rating. And, you know, we talked about systemic risk earlier. It has an impact on our economy. So we're going to have to raise it. Outside of the rhetoric you'll hear from my Republican colleagues, it's critically important. And they know the importance of raising the debt ceiling. They'll make empty promises of holding members until we get this resolved. But they, too, know, as every other economist knows, how important it is.
But you would vote for what's called a clean debt ceiling piece of legislation?
At this point, absolutely.
All right, Congressman André Carson, thanks so much, as usual, for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up, the White